Personal protective equipment, safety clothing. It's very, very important in a workplace. Safety comes first in a workplace. That's what it means. PPE is very important whenever you are working in a workplace. It is so very important that your whole body is protected with a work suit. That means the work suit must protect your legs and the upper body. This is how the demonstration of wearing what? Your overall. And make sure it's properly fitted yourself and you are comfortable with it when you are wearing it on your body. And make sure that you also have the protecting shoes to make sure that whenever you are working in the workplace or in the site place, there is stones, there are nails that can even harm yourself when you are wearing these wrong shoes. This is how your safety boots must look like. They must be neat, shiny, and they must also have the two from slippery. And at the top, there must be a metal that will protect yourself from even you have some stones that come in, they mustn't harm yourself. You must make sure that the boots are with your same size. They are not longer and they are not smaller for you so that you can freely walk or in the workplace. And you must make sure that they are properly tightened. And you must make sure that whenever you are working with something that you can be working at height, your head must also be protected from falling objects. You must use this helmet. You must make sure that we are adjusting depending on the size of the head that you are going to adjust. Then make sure that it fits your head nicely so that you can fully adjust and make sure that it fits on your head. Then you can adjust on your head that it's not falling apart. This is how a protective equipment must look like. These are the goggles protecting yourself from not having something if we are working with the windy or dust that can affect yourself. You must make sure that they are properly secured on your face. You must make sure that your hand gloves are also protective and depending with the type of material that you're going to working about. The hand gloves are so very, very important when handling different types of material so that you cannot get hurt on your hands, so that you can pick any type of the material that you're working on. This is how a fully protected work person must look like in a workplace. Mawuvikeleke xa usebenza in a workplace.
In reference to the installation of the solar system by following the manufacturer's guideline, we have two options for inclination of the solar collector. The first option will use the first hole for a flat roof installation to give us maximum radiation exposure in relation to the position of the sun, and the second hole will reduce the inclination for when we are using the system on a pitched roof. Always ensure that when in Cape Town, your maximum inclination is at an average of 40 degrees. When installing your solar collector, always ensure that the angle of the solar collector in relation to the sun is at a right angle to ensure maximum radiation, which will improve efficiency of the system. Prior to our solar installation, we need to check the orientation of the sun. This way we will be able to ensure that our collector is facing north. In this instance, the base of the stick will illustrate north and the shadow on the ground will indicate towards south. So we would have to install our panel facing the sun so that the radiation from the sun is perpendicular to the panel and not at an obscured angle. Correct installation of the panel will ensure that we receive maximum radiation, and this will increase the efficiency of our system. During the segment that we have now, our installers Don and Fundile will go through the checklist to ensure that our site is suitable for the installation of our solar system. Following the checklist that the manufacturer has supplied, we will check what type of roof we have on site. This will give us an idea of the inclination of the roof, whether we have a flat roof or a pitched roof, so that we can position our collector in the correct position in order to get maximum radiation from the sun. We will also be checking the integrity of the roof When we don't have enough support on the roof, we might have to reinforce in this section over here and this section over here. The installers will use structural timber to reinforce the roof structure to ensure that we have a safe installation. After our site inspection, we found that the roof structure was not strong enough to carry the weight of our solar installation. Therefore, it was necessary to reinforce our roof structure with extra structural timber to ensure that the integrity of the roof remains in place when the installation is done. In order to check the inclination of the roof, the installers will strike a line at the base of the beams that support the roof structure. They can now use spirit level and mark out from the beam at the lower end to get a level line. Once this line has been drawn, a protractor can be used to measure the angle and determine the inclination of the roof. The installers will now measure the distance between the existing beams that support the roof in order to add additional support. Once they have found the center, they will mark out where the additional support will be added. After marking out, the installers will install suitable bracketing systems in order to install timber of the exact same structural integrity as the existing roof structure. In preparation to install the support in the roof structure, the installer will remove the existing insulation inside of the building to check the distance between the beams and the roof covering itself. If needed, the installer will have to add additional timber to ensure that the solar system can be securely installed. And
now for this one.
after taking measurements for the timber sections that we need to install into the roof, we're now ready to cut our timber to size before installation. For this exercise, we're making use of two short ladders as trestles just to support the timber while it's being cut. We'll now put the timber on the shorter ladders for support while we cut them down to the appropriate size. Always ensure that you measure accurately before you cut. Measure out the increment that was measured on the inside of the roof. Then you'll be ready to cut. Always square out the line to ensure that you cut straight. Now use the appropriate saw to cut through the timber. Once all of the timber sections have been cut, we are ready to install into the roof space to reinforce the roof before installation of our solar system. In order to mark out the exact position of where our timber support needs to be, we will use this beam as our center mark for when we are setting out. We know that the total length of our subframe is 1.6, so we will be measuring from the center of this beam 800 up and 800 down, so that we can get the position of our cross members that will support our subframe on top of the roof. After assembling the subframe, we transferred the measurements for penetrations from the subframe to the rooftop, and this will give us our first penetration points where we will drill through so that we can get our secure points into the structural timber that has been added to the roof for extra strength. When drilling your roof penetrations, always ensure that you drill on the highest point of the roof profile and not at the lower point, because when it rains, most of the water will run down through the lower section of the roof profile and could possibly leak into the house. The holes that you see over here are our reference points for where we will secure our subframe for our solar installation. These allow us to easily position our support timber on the inside of the roof to improve the integrity of the roof. We will be using these types of brackets so that we are able to secure them onto the existing beams, and then what we'll do is secure the timber that we have cut into the brackets to give us our extra support under the roof. So the extra timber that we have measured and cut to match the existing beams underneath the roof structure, we will now put into position by using our brackets, and this will give us our extra support to carry the weight of our solar installation. Let's keep that bracket again. You can see we've firmly secured our extra support under the roof. My safety glasses have protected my eyes while working in a position where looking up. We have now secured our structural timber in place, so we have improved the overall integrity of the roof, and we're now ready to install our solar system onto our roof. I'll now be securing the final piece of timber so that we can take the support to the bottom section of the solar system's frame. Our structural timber has now firmly been secured, and we are ready to install our solar system onto the roof.